Welcome to Truth Crimey Podcast, where we delve into the chilling world of true crime. I'm your host, Samuel, and today we will explore a harrowing case that has shocked not only India, but also the entire world, raising critical questions about women's safety and the societal structures that allow such violence to persist. In early 2016, Shalini, a young woman who had just entered into the blissful chapter of marriage, faced unimaginable horror from those she should have been able to trust. This story, marked by greed, cruelty, and betrayal, serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that can lurk in the shadows of our lives. Before we dive into this tragic tale, don't forget to subscribe to Truth Crimey Podcast for more gripping stories and insights into the darkest corners of crime. Your support helps us shed light on these important issues. Now let's get started. The beginning of Hope Shalini was a vibrant 26-year-old accountant hailing from a middle-class family in Uttar Pradesh. She was well-educated and ambitious, having graduated from university with a degree in accounting. Shalini was known for her intelligence, kindness, and dedication to her work. Her colleagues admired her for her approachable nature and sincerity in all relationships. In 2016, fate intervened when Shalini met Karan, a compassionate supermarket employee who came from a troubled background. Karan grew up witnessing the harsh realities of life. His father was known for his violent behavior and gambling addiction. Despite this tumultuous upbringing, Karan was determined to forge a better life for himself. When he met Shalini at a local cafe one fateful evening, it felt like a glimmer of hope had entered his life. Their connection blossomed quickly as they shared their dreams and aspirations. Karan often surprised Shalini with thoughtful gifts and took her out to dinner at her favorite restaurants. Their love grew stronger with each passing day, culminating in Karan's heartfelt proposal. On a romantic evening under the stars, he got down on one knee and expressed his deep feelings for her. Overwhelmed with emotion, Shalini accepted his proposal with tears of joy in her eyes. A joyful union turns dark. On February 4, 2016, Shalini and Karan exchanged vows in a cozy wedding ceremony surrounded by family and close friends. The ceremony was simple, yet filled with joy and love as they embarked on their new journey together. For the first few weeks of their marriage, life was blissful. They enjoyed each other's company and shared dreams of a bright future. However, as both partners settled into their demanding jobs, Karan at the supermarket and Shalini at her accounting firm, they found themselves consumed by work commitments. Their busy schedules meant they could only spend evenings together after long days at work. Despite this challenge, they cherished every moment they had together. On February 28, 2016, after finishing work as usual, Shalini left her office around 5:30 p.m. However, when she failed to return home by 7 p.m., Karan began to feel uneasy. His mother-in-law, Aparna, initially dismissed his concerns, thinking Shalini might be out with friends or caught up in work. The search for Shalini. When Karan returned home from his long shift at the supermarket that evening and discovered that Shalini still hadn't arrived, anxiety began to creep in. He called her phone multiple times, but received no answer. With growing concern, he reached out to Shalini's friends and colleagues, but learned that no one had seen her since she left work. As minutes turned into hours without any news of his wife's whereabouts, panic set in for Karan. Unable to wait any longer for answers from law enforcement, who insisted on waiting 24 hours before taking action, he decided to search for Shalini himself. With help from family members and friends, Karan scoured familiar streets and visited local cafes where she might have stopped. As darkness enveloped the town and hope dwindled with each passing hour, Karan returned home feeling helpless and desperate. He sat anxiously with his mother-in-law as they waited for news that never came. A heartbreaking discovery. The following afternoon marked a turning point in this tragic tale. Driven by desperation and urgency, Karen returned to the police station to insist on taking action regarding his missing wife. After some pressure from him and his family members, authorities finally began organizing a search. Around 4:20 p.m. that same day, police received a report from a resident about suspicious activity near an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. When officers arrived at the scene, they were met with an unimaginable horror. They discovered Shalini's lifeless body lying on the floor in a horrific state, tied up in a cruel position with visible signs of severe torture. The brutality of her death shocked not only Karan, but also law enforcement officials who had been investigating the case. Preliminary examinations revealed that Shalini had suffered extensive injuries. Severe bruises covered her body. 2 broken ribs indicated she had endured brutal beatings. Uncovering the truth. The shocking discovery of Shalini's body sent ripples of horror throughout her community and ignited a firestorm of public outrage across India regarding the pervasive issues of women's safety and the societal responsibility to protect vulnerable individuals. This tragic event not only highlighted the dangers women face, but also exposed the deep-rooted issues within familial relationships that can lead to such heinous acts. As investigators began piecing together the events leading up to Shalini's death, it became painfully clear that this was not merely an isolated act of violence committed by strangers. It was orchestrated by someone who was supposed to care for her, her own father-in-law. Bharat, a man with a notorious reputation for his violent tendencies and criminal behavior, had conspired with 7 accomplices to kidnap Shalini out of a twisted sense of lustful greed. The investigation revealed that Bharat had been meticulously monitoring Shalini's daily routine, waiting for the perfect moment to execute their horrific plan. This premeditation underscored a chilling reality. The threat to Shalini's life came not from an unknown assailant, but from someone within her own family circle, someone who should have been a protector. On that fateful day, February 28th, as Shalini rode home on her motorbike after a long day at work, a time when she would typically be alone, Bharat and his accomplices lay in wait. They ambushed her on a deserted stretch of road, violently restraining her before dragging her into a waiting vehicle. The sheer brutality of this act was staggering. It was not just an abduction, but a calculated attack fueled by depravity. Once taken to a remote location, a dilapidated house far removed from the eyes of society, they subjected her to unimaginable horrors. Tied in a cruel position that left her completely unable to move or resist, Shalini endured relentless physical abuse at the hands of Bharat and his men. The torture she faced was not only physical, but also psychological, as they stripped away her dignity and humanity in the most brutal ways possible. As investigators delved deeper into the case, they uncovered harrowing details about the extent of the abuse Shalini suffered during those horrifying hours. Each member of Bharat's gang took turns inflicting pain on her, reveling in their power over an innocent woman who had done nothing to deserve such cruelty. The brutality was so severe that it left lasting scars, not just on Shalini's body, but also on the community that would forever bear witness to such an atrocity. The revelation that this crime was perpetrated by family members sent shockwaves through society, prompting widespread discussions about the need for stronger protections for women and greater accountability for those who commit acts of violence against them. It raised critical questions about how deeply ingrained societal norms and familial loyalty could be twisted into something so malevolent. As news of Shalini's death spread, it sparked protests and demands for justice across India. Activists rallied together, calling for systemic changes to ensure that women could live free from fear and violence. The case became emblematic of a larger struggle against gender-based violence, highlighting the urgent need for societal reform and better support systems for victims. In the aftermath of this tragedy, many began to reflect on what could have been done differently. not just in Shalini's case, but in countless others like hers. The community was left grappling with feelings of anger, sadness, and helplessness as they sought ways to honor Shalini's memory while advocating for change. This case serves as a stark reminder that violence against women is not just a personal tragedy. It is a societal failure that requires collective action and awareness. It underscores the importance of vigilance in protecting those who are most vulnerable among us and emphasizes the need for every individual to stand against such brutality. Justice served. In the wake of widespread media coverage surrounding this brutal case and mounting public pressure, the police worked tirelessly to apprehend all those involved in this heinous crime. Within days of discovering Shalini's body, authorities arrested Bharat for questioning based on evidence collected at the scene. Faced with overwhelming evidence against him, including fingerprints found on Shalini's body, Bharat confessed to being the mastermind behind this horrific act. He revealed how he had let his lust cloud his judgment and plotted with his accomplices to kidnap his daughter-in-law. As details unfolded during subsequent investigations regarding each perpetrator's involvement in this brutal crime against an innocent woman, a wave of public outrage swept across India, demanding justice for Shalini. The trial commenced on May 5, 2016, a highly publicized event attended by many who sought justice for Shalini's family. The prosecution presented irrefutable evidence detailing not only how barbaric acts were committed against her, but also highlighting societal failures regarding women's safety. Ultimately, all 8 defendants, including Bharat, were sentenced to death for their roles in this tragic incident. While justice was served in terms of legal consequences for those responsible, the emotional scars left behind would haunt many forever. Reflection. The tragic story of Shalini serves as an urgent reminder about improving women's safety across India, and indeed around the world, as well as addressing societal attitudes toward violence against women more broadly. It raises critical questions about how communities can better protect vulnerable individuals from such horrific acts while fostering environments where respect prevails over violence. As we reflect on this heartbreaking case today, it is essential that we advocate for stronger measures ensuring no woman has ever again endure such cruelty or face danger within their own families or communities. Thank you for joining me today on Truth Crime Me podcast as we explored this tragic story that reminds us all why vigilance is necessary when it comes protecting those who may be most vulnerable among us. If you found this episode impactful or thought-provoking, please subscribe so you can continue exploring these important issues with us in future episodes.